everyone. Way back in October, I posted a video about how I was batching my blog posts for a whole month. And it was a disaster. And so since then I have worked and worked and worked, and by a month I meant I batched for 4 months in the span of a month. But since then I have done this a couple of other times and it's gotten progressively better and better and better. So I wanted to talk to you today about batching your blog posts and how great it is. So now that it's not so much of a disaster, let's hop right on in. All right, so if you're not familiar with batching, batching is a way that you can save time by grouping like tasks together, like writing blog posts or putting links into blog posts or creating blogging graphics or whatever. The point of batching is that you already have things kind of ready to go and you're already in the mindset of doing that task. So you're not switching between, you know, writing and linking and creating graphics. You're doing each one at one time, so it's a little bit easier and so that you can save some time. I decided to do a mega batch. My plan was to write 16 blog posts in a month and then schedule those out for the next 4 months. Now, the first time it did not work because all of these other things happened, and basically what it boiled down to is that if I'm going to batch like that, I need to make sure that is the only main thing I'm doing that month. And I think I was like finishing up a course and then I was getting my book ready to be published. Like there was just a lot going on and it was not happening. So then I did it again in January and it actually flowed really smoothly and I really got into a groove and it worked really well. I'm currently in the middle of batching my next set of blog posts, so same kind of thing. Although I'm trying out posting every other week instead of every week and just kind of seeing if I like it and if that's better or not, because I have a lot of blog posts now. So between that and just time, I feel like it might be a good idea. So we'll see how I like it. I might switch back, we shall see. But I wanted to share kind of my process with you. Now, you do not have to write 16 blog posts in a month because frankly, that's a lot. But if you wanted to batch maybe like your blog posts for the month by doing 2 if you do it every other week, or 4 like the first week, and then having them done, and then that is a really good way to batch as well. So you don't have to be quite as extreme as I am, but you can batch, you know, just 2 or 4 or whatever, so that it's, you know, just a little bit and you still have a couple weeks where you don't have to stress about it. So let's talk about how you actually do that. When you are batching your blog posts, number 1 is you need to come up with your ideas. So we have a whole video about how to come up with your ideas. I will link it down below, but basically just go and figure out like, what the heck do you actually want to talk about? One of my favorite places to gain inspiration is from my DMs on Instagram, going through and seeing what people have asked me lately. Another great place to find inspiration is going to Facebook groups and seeing what people are typing into the Facebook groups and asking questions about there. And a third these are like the super easy ways, is that you can go and type them into Google. Although I find this a little bit harder just because there's so many things people Google about teachers, so it's a little bit harder for me. I like the other 2 better, but that is an option for something you can do. And I have actually gained some inspiration from that. One of my blog posts this summer is going to be, what do you actually teach in elementary music? Because that is something someone typed into Google. So those are 3 quick ways you can find some content ideas. My suggestion is just to write them down. So just be like, okay, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea. Just write them down in a big chunk. And then number 2 is going to be to create your content calendar. Now you can do this wherever you want. You can do it in Trello, you can do it in Google Calendar and put them on the actual days. But the whole idea is that you put your inspiration on the actual days. Now I'm a little obnoxious and I like to do this 2 different ways. So number 1 is in my bullet journal, I just write down the topic and then the date that it's going to be published. And I like this because it's like here with me, I can see a lot of stuff at one glance, and so I can schedule a lot of things. So I already have things scheduled for like next year that I'm not writing anytime soon, but I already know what I want to write because I had these ideas, so I already have them down, so I don't even have to worry about that the next time I batch my blog post. But I like this because it's really easy to see. I also, because I'm very obnoxious, I also have a content calendar. So on here I put all the content that's going out. That's kind of a lie because I had some extra videos that went out that should have been blue, but I didn't put them on here. But I put them on here so I can see all of the different things at once. Now you probably don't have more than 1 YouTube channel and, you know, a blog and all that crap, but I do. So I think this is the easiest way to see it. And also when you're looking at just 1 month, then it's like, okay, these are the things I need to accomplish, and that makes it a lot easier. if you're wondering about the sticky notes, I like sticky notes because I can do things like the other day when I switched those because I was like, that one's not ready. So I just swapped them out. So they're just really easy to kind of stick around, especially when you're trying to decide what you want to actually do. So I just did this for June. I just grabbed like all my sticky notes, especially if you're trying to decide what you want to do still, you can kind of move them around really easily. So I like that. And I have the big desk calendar because I wanted the sticky notes to be able to fit on it. Before that, I used to do it just like in my planner. So that's kind of my like month at a glance look. And then I like to have that like huge list so that I can see a lot of things at one time while I'm writing my blog posts. Okay, number 3 is you gotta decide how many you're batching. Are you writing 2 blog posts? Are you writing 4? Are you writing 16? Because things are gonna be a lot different depending on how many you're going to do. So just decide what is my goal right now? What am I writing? How many do I need to write? All that kind of stuff. And along with that, you need to decide when you're gonna do this, because it's great to be like, I'm gonna batch all the blog posts, but if you don't actually make time to batch all the blog posts, they're not getting batched. So for me, what I did is in the morning is when I typically work. So I just picked 1 month, and every day other than Thursdays, because Thursdays I do emails, I wrote a blog post every day. My original plan was to write a blog post 4 days a week, because I forgot about the emails. And then on Friday, I was going to get those ready with like graphics and links and all that kind of stuff. But what actually ended up happening is I spent the first like 3 weeks writing blog posts every day, and sometimes I wrote 2 because they were short, which was great because then it kind of made up for those Thursdays. And then the last week I added all the graphics and all the blog links and all that kind of stuff, and that ended up working better. The first way worked better in my mind, but the second way worked better in practice because I would get to Friday and be like, oh no, I didn't finish that blog and I need to do this, and it was just so much easier. So that is one thing. Also, along with that, I do want to mention that if I have like an hour to write, I will write for the whole hour. So if I finish my first one in 45 minutes and I have 15 more minutes, I'll spend that 15 minutes writing the next one. I write these in Google Docs because I think it's easier to just write, and I'm not as tempted to go and grab links and all that kind of stuff. And also, if anything were to happen to your website, you would have a backup. So that is really, really helpful as well. And then step 4 is just gonna be to write. Now, like I just mentioned, I said you should just write and not go grab links. The reason is because then anytime you have to go grab links, it's gonna take longer and you're kind of switching between tasks, which is what we're avoiding by batching. So I want you to just sit and write. And when you're done, write some more until you get to the end of your time, and then do the other things on another day. So I usually have like one day where I do graphics, and then the rest of the days where I'll go and add all the links and put them into my blog and add the graphics and all of that kind of stuff. And it just helps you to, 1, have just like a better mindset, and 2, frankly, you have all the tabs open when you need them, and you're not opening all the tabs every single time you're writing a blog post. So that also makes it a little bit easier too. All right, next up is gonna be to schedule them out. So after you write them, I would suggest that you schedule them. I got this question recently. Somebody said, if I have 3 blog posts ready, should I just publish them now and then promote them kind of scheduled out, or should I just schedule them out? You can do it either way, I guess. I think it's easier to schedule them out so that I can just have an easier time being like, okay, here's a new blog post, and really promoting that one as it comes out. It also does help if anyone is subscribed to your blog, or if somebody comes back and reads it periodically, that there's new things. It's not like a giant chunk and then nothing. But for the most part, most of your blog traffic is going to come from SEO or from you driving it there. So that means that it is going to be more you driving the traffic. However, I will also say it's easier to find the newest blog post. So if you're promoting the newest blog post, that's gonna make it easier than if you're promoting a blog post that was written a while ago and there's like other blog posts, and it just gets really confusing. So my suggestion would be to schedule it out, but I guess you could do whatever you want. And the last step is the easiest, and that is to just promote your blog posts as they come. So every time a new blog post comes out, I make sure I talk about it on Instagram. I try to do a story and a post. I go and put it onto Pinterest and make sure I have lots of pins going to the blog post. And I just make sure I'm talking about it. I usually send my email list to it a couple of times so that if someone didn't read it the first time, they might read it the second time or the third time. And so there's just different ways that you can really promote it and make sure you're driving traffic to your blog, because if you read it and no one sees it, it's not very helpful. So that's really all for batching vlogs. It seems so simple, but it can be really stressful. So pro tips would be just write, don't write and link and all that and format and edit at the same time. Just write, and then go back. Second pro tip is going to be to make sure, again, that you schedule that time that is free so that you're not putting it off, especially if you're doing like a whole month of writing blog posts. It's like, oh, well, I'll just write 2 tomorrow. No, you won't. You will not write 2 tomorrow. You will be behind. So make sure you just have the time and the space to actually be able to enjoy it. I will also say that as you're batching, it gets faster. So at the beginning of the month, it takes a really long time for me to write each one. By the end of the month, I'm like cranking them out and they're really, really fast because I'm just more in that mindset and I'm more used to it. And I have been practicing for days and days and days. And so it makes it a lot easier. So that's kind of my secret for how I get the blog posts batched. I started batching my blog posts, in case anyone is curious, because I started a new blog for my secondary TPT shop, which is more of like a side hustle kind of thing. But I was like, if I have 2 different blogs, there is no way I can write them both. Like, I keep on top of things if I'm doing them in the moment. So I wanted to make sure that I just had things like scheduled out and ready so they were easy, so they were simple, so that things were just, you know, done ahead of time so that I was able to do it. And I really like this system because it makes it more of a project as opposed to like I used to do every single Monday morning. I would write a blog post and after a while it's like, I gotta write another blog post. But if you do it this way, it's like, oh, we're writing a bunch of blog posts and then we're done. And then we don't have to think about it for a long time. And it's great. So again, you don't have to do a bajillion blog posts. You could do, like, if you have one every week, just do 4 the first week. So you could write one Monday, one Tuesday, one Wednesday, one Thursday, and then on Friday get them all set up. Or if you only do 2 a month, you could do, again, write Monday, write Tuesday, and then on Wednesday get them all set up. So you can do it that way. But I just really recommend it because I feel like it frees up your brain for so many other things. It also helps you enjoy it a little more and makes you not feel like you're on that like hamster wheel of creating content all of the time. And bonus, it makes it so that your blogs kind of go more together, because if you're like, I need blogs for the next 6 months, then it's easier to make them kind of cohesive versus before it was like, here's a blog post, there's a blog post, there's a blog post. This just makes it more cohesive because you're scheduling them all at the same time. So I am curious, do you batch your blog post, or are you interested in batching your blog post? Let me know down below. And if you are blogging and you need some help, I have a free email course for getting started. So if you haven't even started yet, it's like how to set up. And we have a new teacher blogger course. So thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.